Hey Dads, 2019's How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World wraps up the series started all the way back in 2010 with the first film. There have been 3 films now and 3 TV series, all of which have gotten pretty good reviews. The question for us tonight on Daddy Daughter Movie Night is, will your kid, especially your younger kid, love to watch this movie over and over as they grow up? Will it be a classic, or is it just more of a wrap-up? We're going to get into that right after this. We caught How to Train Your Dragon on streaming recently, and I have to tell you, we had lots of mixed emotions about this film. We were not so wrapped up in the hype when it came out. A lot of fans were eagerly waiting for this wrap-up. Rumors started to fly early on that the ending was provocative, and those rumors were not unfounded. The end of this film was fairly powerful, and that's sort of the problem with this movie, if there is one, that it is so focused on this wrap-up that it seems to be made for the final couple of scenes. And the film suffers a little bit because of that. There's not a really great villain. Grimmel, he is a scary guy. He is formidable. But, you know, we are now in 2019 coming off of 3 seasons of the interstitial TV shows of How to Train Your Dragon, all of which have a through line through the movies as well. And that's a lot of material to compete with. So this film, when it came along, I have to say was a little bit lackluster in that department, in the drama department. But anyway, let's get into the plot. Hiccup and the Burkians have been taking care of dragons for years now. The city is overrun by too many dragons. They're all underfoot. Everything is chaos. Meanwhile, they are rescuing more and more dragons from dragon hunters who engage the services of Grimmel, a dragon killer. The Hidden World is the place that we find out in this film Hiccup's dad told him about as a boy, where all dragons come from. And Hiccup gets the idea, now that they are under siege from all angles by dragon hunters, that the only thing for the people of Berk and their dragons to do is to disappear, find the Hidden World, take up residence there, get off the map, and build a new life there. That turns out to be a bit of a pipe dream. They do set out. They are hunted down by Grimmel. Grimmel uses the light fury that the dragon hunters have coincidentally captured recently, uses the light fury to lure Toothless away, who, if you recall from the second film, has now established himself as the king of dragons. The plan is, if they capture Toothless, all the other dragons will come along with him, and they will be flush. Grimmel, we find out, is the person who hunted down all of the Night Furies before the films began. That's why there's only Toothless left, and he wants to finish the job and kill Toothless as well. So he breaks his deal with the dragon hunters, tries to kill Toothless. Of course, Hiccup and the gang are victorious in the end and send Grimmel to a deep, dark place. And then comes the sad ending, which everyone was abuzz about not too long ago. Hiccup realizes that Toothless belongs with the Light Fury and his kind, and more so than that, that the world of men does not deserve dragons yet, and that they should go off and become legend, and that they should go off and leave them to their own devices until society is a little better and kinder and gentler. It is a great message for our time, an unfortunate great message for our time. The standout is the ending. The standout is the message. And if you're not a message person, I don't know what you're really going to get out of this movie except some beautiful visual effects, some closure to the story, and that's about it. So just to put a pin in that final point, this movie had a really hard job that it set out to do, to wrap up everything that came before it. And does it do it? Yes. Does it do it at the expense of being a good story by itself as a movie? Yes, to some degree. It suffers because it had too many little jobs to do, and it didn't do the big one, which was tell a great story that we hadn't seen before. And so many scenes with so many characters that were retreads of things that have been done before, and sometimes better on TV. Rough Nut and Tough Nut in the TV show, they get funnier and funnier, even for a grown-up audience. We're laughing out loud at them sometimes. But in this film, Rough Nut has one gag that he repeats over and over, and it's not funny at all. The character's kind of tossed off in this movie. Same thing for Kristen Wiig and Roughnut. Actually, if you haven't checked out the TV series with your young ones and they love the movies, do so, because there's a lot of stuff there. The villains are better on the TV series. The humor, the comedy, the barbs traded between Roughnut and Toughnut are actually really well written on the TV show, especially in the third series, the Netflix series. The characters are snappier, funnier. The storylines are just as dramatic, just as full of action. And even more so in some ways than in this film, although this film has a lot of great action toward the end. Fast forward score is middle to high, actually, depending on the sensitivity of your kid and their age. There's a lot of violent action in this film. Nobody gets killed per se. When Grimmel shows up with his dragons, those attacks are times when you want to keep the remote control firmly in hand, and you might have to fast forward, because even though my daughter's used to this series, she was on the fence about whether or not she was going to freak out a little bit with the violence here. There are a lot of scary dragons in the series, but the ones that Grimmel subdues with their own venom, no less, to keep them under his thumb, are the scariest I've seen. And just the fact that they're slaves to him, being in a drugged state all the time, adds an element that I think confused my daughter a bit and was scary in its own right, just because of that sort of psychological torture of these animals that was at play. Abby's just about 5, so use that to gauge how your own kids might react to those scenes, but keep the remote control in hand. Daddy's reason to watch. Can't imagine anyone but Jay Baruchel and America Ferrara doing Hiccup and Astrid. F. Murray Abraham is a sturdy villain in Grimmel, but I'm going to give it to Roger Deakins, damn it, who is the heart and soul of the visual end of this franchise, at least the films. I'm going to break off here to the side and just read you some of the films that this guy has made. Blade Runner 2049, Hail Caesar, Sicario, Skyfall, the James Bond movie, Rango, True Grit, A Serious Man, The Lady Killers, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, A Beautiful Mind, The Big Lebowski, Kundun, Fargo, Dead Man Walking, Shawshank Redemption, Hudsucker Proxy, Passion Fish, Barton Fink, Sid and Nancy. I didn't even realize that he did Sid and Nancy. The man is a visual genius when it comes to light and shadow and realism. The visuals are a huge selling point of this film, especially for grown-ups, and would not be as great to watch without him. So check out IMDb for Roger Deakins and watch some of his films, and you'll see what I'm saying. So the question from the beginning of this episode, will this film become another classic in the series? Will your kid want to watch it over and over again along with the others? And the answer to that, I think, is not really. My daughter has watched it twice now. She's watched the other films many times. She's watched every episode of the entire TV existence of this franchise many times now, but she wouldn't watch this movie more than twice. And it's not because she got tired of How to Train Your Dragon. She will watch the TV show again right now if I go in the other room and put it on. She will watch either of the 2 films right now if I go in the other room and put it on. But she will not watch this movie again. It's not that she hates it, but I think it is, especially for a younger kid, a little bit on the boring side. I'm glad she got to see it, even though she was bored sometimes. And I think if there's anything that might draw her back to this film in the coming years, it might be the mystery of the dragons going away and what that's all about. I don't think she gets it now, but at some point she might be a little more curious about the connection between humankind and the magic of life, and whether or not we deserve that magic of life, to something that a kid's mind might come back around to in the years ahead. We'll see. And if she does wind up asking for it, I'll mention it on a future show. But until then, the dragons are now part of history, and it's a bit sad. So take that for what it's worth. Do enjoy it once or twice. Do enjoy the ending. Do shed a tear for humanity. But if you want to be entertained by these characters, and if you want your kid to be entertained by these characters, watch the series on TV, especially the Netflix series. We just recently published a new channel trailer. I'd be interested to know what any of you thought about it. We are trying to drum up a little bit more in the way of subscriptions for the channel, so do share it with your friends. So check it out, and check us out on Twitter, Facebook, at our website. I'll put the links down below. Do like our videos if you would. Give them the thumbs up. It really does help. If you like what we do here on Daddy Daughter Movie Night, running through movies that I've watched with Abby to give you a quick review and her reaction to them, to save you a little time picking out films for your own movie night, then do, by all means, subscribe. Till next time, I'm Tom. This is Daddy Daughter Movie Night, and we'll see you soon.